All right, the Manga Extravaganza continues. We're going to take a little break from Manga Dex and look at the other site where I basically, between these two sites is all the manga I read these days. Well, it's not quite true. There's some stuff that I can't find elsewhere and I'd have to download. There's some stuff that I just read physically. Sometimes I get very nostalgic and I go back to Dynasty scans and check out my favorites there. But for the most part, it's either on Manga Dex or on the Viz Shonen Jump collection. If you don't know about this, this is like not only the best deal in manga, but I think just the best deal in like online content, period. You pay something like $2 a month. Ooh, let's start by doing this. And you get access to, all of these series. And this includes some classics. You want to read all of Naruto? Just $2 a month, my friend. You want to read all of Yu-Gi-Oh, including all these other like Yu-Gi-Oh spin-off successor arcs? Just $2 a month, my friend. Shall we? Cheers, my friends. Let's go to Mangaton City. Let's check out my year in review. Most read series by Shonen Jump members. I'm reading 1, 2, 3, 4 of these, and I guess 5, but I'm not caught up. Newest titles, I'm reading this. And that's it. I'm reading this, but I'm not caught up. Is this my year in review? I thought it was going to be my year in review. I thought it was going to talk about what I read. Anyways, my idea here is that we'll go through all of these. Why not? I think all of the series on here are kind of like notable at least, and then I can highlight and give my little Michelin stars to any series that I think deserve them of stuff I'm reading. This is some Naruto spin-off. I have no idea. This we talked about in the Manga Dex videos, so that's fine. This is actually getting an anime now, and we were talking about the upcoming anime. So, you know, I like this. We are working to backfill these chapters. I don't know, maybe I'll read it. It seems like a fun rom-com. This my boyfriend was reading, I think. Oh yeah, because he really likes Tokyo Ghoul, from the creator of Tokyo Ghoul. I don't know anything about it, but at some point I should read Tokyo Ghoul, I think. Just because he really likes it, and then we can talk about it, and that sounds like fun. JoJo's, I read up to part 6, I think? Steel Ball Run is part 7. I think I got into Stone Ocean, and then I gave up. And this was years and years ago, like when Stone Ocean was running. So at some point I'd like to really get caught up on JoJo's, and especially read Steel Ball Run, because I've heard that praised to the high heavens and back. But I just have not yet. Boruto, I read like 3 chapters of it when I first started, and I was like, you know what? We got through Naruto. That's enough. I don't need to read any more of this stuff. And I haven't. Chainsaw Man. Now here is a manga. The anime is running right now and getting a lot of hype, which it absolutely deserves. I don't think it's like a flawless adaptation by any stretch. It certainly isn't that experimental of an adaptation, whereas the manga itself, I think, is very experimental, very genre-pushing, very boundary-pushing. It certainly operates within the expectations and the paradigm of your kind of classic shonen battle manga, but it does so in a way that's just genuinely shocking and subversive, and it's just like so full of ideas and world building in a way that like really stimulates the imagination, that you just want to see more of how these things function, how they operate. And then I think in just terms of like the craft of manga storytelling, this guy's a genius. His paneling, his page transitions, his sense of escalation and scale. There's very few people that compare to him. I think he deserves all that praise and more. Recently, it came back from a huge hiatus with like a brand new kind of saga. I don't want to spoil anything, of course, but it's just been even better, I think. His characterization is also just so compelling. Such scummy, detestable people. And it's not even that, oh, but you find yourself endeared to them anyways. It's more just like you're just continuously shocked and disappointed, but you're so compelled. You still really want to see what happens to these folks. The anime is not going to get anywhere near through this entire series. I'm guessing it's going to end maybe around the end of this volume. So please check out the manga. I'm giving this 2 stars. I think this is just one of the best battle shonen ever made, really. It has such a complete vision of itself that it doesn't feel at all like they set out to just kind of make one of those extremely popular, kind of self-perpetuating, endless shonen series, but instead really had a story to tell in a very particular way. Yeah, it's great. Dragon Ball Super, I do kind of want to read this at some point, because I read all of Dragon Ball and all of Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Original especially left a huge impression on me and really shaped what I like from manga and stuff. So I just want to see it through, I'm not expecting that much. I think it's going to be really goofy, really over the top. But from what I've seen of it, it's still very charming, just fun. This one looks interesting. Boy into UFOs collides with a girl into Ghost. I think it'll be an interesting little rom-com. And I haven't read a Shonen Jump rom-com in a while. I don't have any of them on the go. When normally that's like an institution that I'm reading whatever the latest popular rom-com is. But right now I don't think there is kind of like a dominantly popular rom-com, so I should check this out. This is fantastic. This, I think, putting aside like Chainsaw Man, which feels just like in a category of its own and it's hard to compare, and One Piece, whose reputation is like, it's One Piece. This, I think, is the best thing running in Shonen Jump right now. The art style is phenomenal, so expressive, so detailed, so poetic. The subject matter is really interesting, all about the world of Rakugo, making it big as a professional Rakugoka. The characters are really endearing. It's just perfect. It's just like if they had taken this concept of we want to make a shonen series about this girl that gets into Rakugo, they just did everything right, absolutely everything right. And I think they're planning on this being a long run. I think it's very successful. It's gotten a lot of accolades, a lot of attention from other mangaka, and I think they could easily explore this world in such depth with such excitement and escalation for 300 chapters, and I'm down for that. This gets 2 stars as well. I think this is such a triumphant achievement, and anybody can enjoy this one, I think. You don't have to necessarily be into Rakugo stories or stories about this kind of artistic competition or anything like that. I think it's just so well done that anybody will get caught up in it. Hunter x Hunter, of course, an absolutely legendary series, has returned from hiatus at last. We can see, as we scroll back, pretty consistent for a while. Oh, I see. Okay, never mind. I was going to highlight the huge gaps in serialization the series has taken. I stopped reading it during one of these big gaps. I don't remember when. It must have been later than this. I read quite a bit of it, but a long time ago, and I want to get back into it. Honestly, this is, one of the most beloved and acclaimed shonen series out there. I think because I've always just been so, team One Piece, it just never, hit as hard for me. I think it is very, very well done. Characterization good. All the arcs, really good sense of arc writing. But, I don't know. It's just not for me. The world building doesn't enchant me as One Piece's does. The characters aren't as endearing to me as One Piece's, but it is good. Jujutsu Kaisen, I watched the anime and I thought it was quite well done. I got my boyfriend into it because I said, oh, it's kind of like Bleach. He really likes Bleach. And I'm like, this is like the new Bleach. He watched the anime, he really liked it, and then he went and read all of the manga, and he said, oh, you gotta read the manga gets crazy. And it does indeed get crazy. I think this is one of those series that is just getting better and better as they expand the world building, as you get more of a sense of reputation for the characters and the scope of their abilities and stuff. And it's pretty rare for a shonen battle series to do that, I think. To be fair, it's only 200 chapters in. There's certainly time for them to start stumbling over themselves. But so far they've like kept it really fresh, really dynamic. All of the new characters and escalation has been really well done. And the art style is just fantastic, really expressive battle scenes, really good grotesquity and creepiness. Yeah, this is a good one. This I read the first chapter of, and I thought it was kind of I don't know. Premises, whatever. I read it because she has a large chest, and I wanted to see what was going on with that. This one looks really weird. They all have amnesia, and they're trying to put together from contextual clues what their family must have been doing before they had amnesia. This actually sounds pretty fun. I would like to kind of check it out, especially since it's just started. I love reading series from near the start, so if I like it, you know, this could be something I read for years to come. Should be good. This one's been running for a while. I've heard really good things about it. I've heard also that it starts kind of slowly and sort of generically, episodically, but once it's kind of gets its footing and they can start writing longer arcs with kind of the faith that people will follow them, that it actually that it actually gets like really, really good. I think this is yet another in that genre I talked about in the anime video I made today of people with sketchy pasts that then have to do domestic type stuff. And I generally really enjoy that genre. So I would like to read this as well. It'll take a little while. It's been going for a while. But fun premise. Art style looks cool. This one interests me just because it's about ciphers, code breaking, cryptography, stuff like that. I think that could be a lot of fun. The art style looks kind of cool. The story is by Okay, I gotta get on this. Only 5 chapters, dude. I gotta get on this. This one's been running for a while. This is kind of like, I'd say, one of the more popular in like the previous generation of titles. I don't know. Pure chaos. Okay. I assume this will get a successful anime at some point. But doesn't interest me too much. Same with this one. Again, I just kind of associate it with like the last kind of big batch of series. One of the ones that survived. Seems like people like it. The art style kind of looks interesting. It has this sort of, I don't know, like kind of classic feel to it. From inference, it seems like the main character does not use any magic and he just beats people up because he's super strong. I like that. Here's another one from that kind of era. This looks fun. I don't know what this series is either, but I don't know. It looks nice. What was this one? This again, I think of that generation. There was like a whole bunch of series that came out around the same time. And all, well, at least the ones that survived, there's strong survivorship bias here, but the ones that I remember, because they're still running, seem to be well liked. Okay, sure. It's another spy family. This I'm reading. I had heard a lot of good stuff about it. It is indeed very unique. The art style is really unique. The premise is really unique. Just the general like tone and feel of it is very strange and unique. I'm not the hugest fan. I think one thing that kind of bugs me is the thing that got me really entranced is that it's all about pianists. It's all about people that play piano at a really high level. And then they do something that's like pretty common in manga where obviously you can't depict the sound of the music directly. So people like visualize, oh man, this music is so enchanting. It makes me think I'm in a forest glade or something like that. And they do a really good job visualizing this. But what bothers me is that it's like canonical in the world of the series and the diegesis of the series that everyone is hallucinating this. That the music is so evocative that everyone is seeing the exact same mental hallucination of like a forest glade or whatever. And it becomes like a plot point that it's like, oh, this person can make you visualize a carnival when they play. So I'm in a piano duel with them. I'm going to counteract that by making you have a visualization of the amusement park shutting down and going home on the train. And then they're not going to be able to make you think you're at the amusement park because you already pictured going home from the amusement park. And I'm just like, that's... it's like silly. Like it kind of has like a battle shonen-y element, I guess. And I do kind of like that factor in battle shonen of like strategies and counter strategies and stuff. But I don't know. It seems in my mind to kind of detract from the focus of piano as piano. And likewise, any actual discussion of like what it is like to play piano or practice piano falls by the wayside really quickly. The characterization is like very strange, as I said before, but fascinating. And they've, built up this idea. It's about this family of septuplet siblings that all play piano. And it's like, I want to see the other siblings. I want to see what they're like. So I'm still going to keep reading it. I'm still enjoying it. But there's just this element of like battling by making each other visualize things. It's just strange to me. Blue Box, sports series, sports rom-com. Well, that sounds cute. I like badminton a lot. Badminton is of all this. If I was forced at gunpoint to get good at a sport, it would definitely be badminton. I have the body for it. My wingspan is huge. You don't have to sprint all the time like tennis, which drove me insane. I don't mind like distance running. I actually quite like it. But sprinting, like running as quickly as you can, is very uncomfortable for me. But badminton solves all those problems. I don't remember ever seeing this before. This looks wild. Wannabe magician meets a magical snowman that changes her life. Alright, okay. This I started reading a bit of. I don't know if I'm going to come back to it, but it was silly. This guy makes it to high school, and then he finds out that his whole family is also enrolled in the same high school for reasons inexplicable. And it's just goofy gag embarrassment series. I don't know. It's definitely like for kids. This one looks bizarre. Ratatouille. Is this dude getting ratatouille'd? Okay. This has been running for a while. I've read like random chapters of it here and there, just because it's fun, and it's like especially fun to read one from really late in the series, because it's like a gag series, right? And it's all gags about the character's personality and like callbacks and stuff. So to kind of read like a random chapter, like 80 chapters in, and just be like, what is going on? Like, what does any of this mean? What are they talking about? That's really fun. I like that. So I'll probably just keep doing that and not reading it. This I started reading and I thought it was okay, but I couldn't really get into it. I was mostly interested because it's the creator of Ass Class, and I liked Ass Class a lot, and I thought he was a really good artist. The concept seemed fine. I think I probably could get into it. It was just very like front-loaded. It taught you like a lot of like pseudo-historic lore and stuff to kind of situate the characters, and I was just like, okay. This looks kind of neat. She got horns though. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Probably a fun rom-com. If the art lives up to the art of this promo image, it could be really good. Got another Naruto spin-off. This is another one that's been running for a while. People seem to really like. Sure. Sudden Kafka Metamorphosis. Kafka Metamorphosis. Ooh, very literary. BNHA. I've been reading this forever now, it feels like. I think I picked it up. I'm just looking at the covers and trying to remember what was happening. Only maybe... Yeah, like maybe around here. I think less than 100 chapters in. So I've been reading this for a long time. I like it. It's very solid. Very good characterization. All of the main and extended cast you feel pretty compelled by and endeared by and stuff. The powers are fun. The fight scenes are well done. I do really appreciate that they will kind of step outside the genre occasionally and just have like dramatic chapters that don't necessarily involve fighting, or full-on slice-of-life arcs that don't necessarily involve fighting, and just stuff that really lets the world breathe and the characters kind of come into fruition. Yeah, it's good. I don't think it's like amazing. I think just kind of there's nothing like super inventive about it or anything. In the end, it is quite generic, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's just solid. Solid is the word I would use. I think it's going to end soon. It really feels like they're gearing up for the final climactic battles. And I can say that's a really good run. It's a run where the quality didn't really diminish or anything. So that's an achievement. Definitely makes it worth reading. Check it out. Spy Family. I guess this is on a bit of a hiatus or something. Where it's like, oh, it's only bi-weekly. Okay, sure. I really want to read this. I love the anime so much. I'd wanted to read it even before the anime was announced, but I just never got to it. And then the anime had so much hype, you know, Cloverworks with Studio combo. I was like, all right, I'll just wait and watch it, and it was great. And then as soon as the first season ended, I was like, all right, I'm gonna read it now and see what else happens. And then they announced the second season, and I'm like, all right, I'll just watch that. I don't know if they're gonna announce a third season right away. I don't know how far the second season's gonna cover in terms of the chapters that are out, but really great series. Looking forward to reading the manga. Yo, that's the Herman Miller Eames lounge chair. Oh shit, wait. Hold up. Wait. Literally just wait. This will take me a second. But yeah, they show like famous kind of high-end luxury furniture shots. Hold up. Just wait a minute. Yeah. Yo, is that your girl Kista sitting in the Herman Miller Eames lounge? One of the most famous pieces of furniture of all time? Am I posted up in the Herman Miller store? Even taking my mask off for the Photoshop shots? You goddamn right I am. Goddamn right I am. Oh yeah. Oh shit, are those my really crappy sneakers that I've worn down to like nothing and I'm still wearing to this day? Oh snap. Is this my outfit that I wore to a tech conference? Hell yeah it is. Am I sweating a lot because it was friggin' hot in Seattle? Oh, you better believe it. Alright, let's talk about One Piece. How do you even talk about One Piece? At this point, I might call it like the most legendary manga of all time. Because it's so universally beloved. It's so influential on what we think of this entire era of shonen. Even if that era may be drawing to a close, there's so many classic series that are so indebted to it that became institutions of their own while just kind of living in the formula of One Piece. It deserves every bit of praise that it's ever received. In my mind, there is no superior shonen series. The world building, the intensely lovable characters, the mysteries that are so masterfully foreshadowed over hundreds of chapters spanning decades. It's there's nothing better. It's my favorite manga. I couldn't even begin to consider calling anything else my favorite manga. I've been reading it since I was like 10 years old. And every chapter is a joy. Sure, you know, some arcs aren't as good as others. Some arcs don't live up to your expectations for them. But every chapter just is so inventive. Every character has so much personality. Oda's imagination feels just like this infinite wellspring that has only barely been scratched as we enter the 1000th chapter and beyond. Just looking at these covers, we see so much variety of character design and aesthetic. of place. There's a famous challenge of name one thing Mario hasn't done, like one setting, one aesthetic, one kind of role, and it speaks to just how diversely Nintendo has used the character over so many years. But you can almost say the same thing to One Piece, like where haven't they gone? What kind of story haven't they told yet? What kind of character haven't they spotlighted? And it's tough to come up with anything. And even if you do come up with anything, it feels like, well, maybe that'll just be the next arc. Oh, man. No, I just love One Piece so much, so very, very much. It's made me laugh until I cried, and cried until I laughed at how hard I was crying. Even now, certain moments, I think even if I just picture them for too long, I'll start to tear up. Luffy, I think, is just the platonic ideal of shonen protagonists. Just his mixture of base animalistic desires and his huge, overbearing moral compass, even when it's very confusingly aligned. His hashtag relatable food motivation. This is the series as well that, like, I think overall I'm quite good at remembering, like, the plots of stuff and, like, trivia and details about things that I read and watch. But for some reason, probably because I started reading it as a kid, my brain has built an entire, like, One Piece data center that I feel more confident in being quizzed on this series than any other series. Like, just looking through it now, I can tell you just every single thing that happens in each of these volumes, all of these characters' names, what they do, what they're like. And it's not even necessarily that I'm all that confident that I'll be 100% accurate, but just that feeling of familiarity, the feeling that I've lived in this world for the better part of my life. This gets 3 stars for sure. There is no other manga like One Piece. There may never be another manga like One Piece. This kind of hugely dominant cultural phenomenon emerging just from a manga because people just liked it that much isn't something that's guaranteed to happen. It isn't something that needs to exist in the world. And for the most part, it's actually good that tastes are more diversified, I think. That there's all sorts of series that get their chance in the spotlight instead of one thing just kind of driving the entire genre's conversation. But it's certainly a beautiful thing that One Piece had this role for as long as it had. That such a great series could occupy that space. Not for much longer. I mean, I say that, but it's not for much longer relative to the entire length of the series. But we're in the final saga now. Plot lines that have been tantalized and dangled in front of us for over a decade are now getting wrapped up. All of the endgame characters are getting involved. All the final mysteries are being revealed. We're in the endgame now, and I don't know how to feel about it. I just straight up don't know how to feel about it. But you'll get to hear what I'm feeling about it week by week, because even if a lot of other projects fall by the wayside, I am very devoted to doing One Piece reactions as soon as possible after each new chapter. So I'll see you in 2 days as we discuss chapter 1070. Anyways, more JoJo. I already talked about JoJo. Black Clover, I've heard this called the new Naruto, which makes me not really want to read it. Blue Exorcist. I've heard something about this. I don't really remember what it was. Okay, whatever. It is what it is. Seraph of the End. Okay, sure. Don't know either. This I am reading. Big fan. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's very well written. Very, whenever you write a series about comedians, people doing comedy, it's tough because you really got to make it funny. If the characters themselves aren't funny and they're teaching you about the art of comedy and stuff, it's going to be pretty hollow. But I actually find this one, the jokes of the characters and stuff are cracking me up. And just like the passion of them, seeing them practice, seeing them figure out how they're going to go at each competition, working through all their routines and stuff. It's addictive. I wish it was more than just once a month. I would love to, have volumes and volumes of this to read. The art, of course, fantastic. This guy Obata, who did Death Note, who did Bakuman. I'm a big fan. Yeah, check it out. Twin Star Exorcist. So many exorcists. Okay. This is like a spin-off of The Promised Neverland. If I read The Promised Neverland, maybe I'll read that too. This is one of the Dragon Quest mangas that have been running basically since Dragon Quest started, as far as I know. It seems like good fun. I like Dragon Quest. I like stuff that kind of uses that type of world, that very like classic JRPG setting. So this could be fun. This... At least they're not aliens trying to kill you. Alright, well that's true. Another aliens. Alright. Of course. I watched some of the anime for this. It was like, okay. I think it is one that I would enjoy more in manga than the anime. Some interesting like twists and developments and stuff, but I never really got into it. Intriguing. Very sparkly shoujo art style. Sure. Power of a super smartphone. Okay. Kind of has isekai vibes. This looks like it's a JoJo series. Oh yeah, alright. Who is this guy again? Is this from a part I haven't read, or did I just forget? From Diamond is Unbreakable. I don't remember this guy. Man, I read these so long ago. And I read them so quickly. Just in like blitzes in my early teens. What was this guy's deal? I don't know. I gotta reread JoJo. I just gotta plunge into it at some point. This is a very well-respected manga. The anime, I think people had mixed feelings about. But they've got it entirely on here. So maybe at some point I will read it. Alright. This is very classic looking. Do not know. Alright. This I'm reading. I'm not caught up on it, but I should get caught up on it because it seems like a lot of fun. Seems like a lot of fun. I'm not even listening to myself talk anymore. I've been recording videos for like 2 hours. I gotta take a break after this. Seems like a lot of fun. I read like 200 chapters of it. What do I mean seems? It's good. It's just a good rom-com. I think I gave it a star when we talked about it in the Manga Dex videos. Teenage Cyborg, sure. This is One Piece crossover with Shokugeki no Sanji, Sokugeki no Soma. Alright, sure. This looks cute. She's a dragon. Alright. You know what? Sounds good to me. Dr. Stone. I really like this series. I don't necessarily like every direction that it took, but the premise is fantastic. The focus on science is fantastic. I'm gonna give this one star. I think the beautiful moments of scientific breakthrough and just kind of reflecting on the journey humanity has gone on in its technological advancement is really well expressed in a way that gives me a rare sense of like good feelings about humanity as a whole. The characters are fun. The art style from Legend Boichi is very unique, very expressive, really intense battle sequences, but in the end it's all about the science and Senku's big butt here. Yeah, good one. I really like it. Just listen to the song. Oh, it's a Fujimoto series. I haven't read the Fujimoto one-shots yet, despite loving Chainsaw Man so much and hearing a lot of praise for them. So at some point, I gotta get to it. Knights of the Zodiac, an all-time classic. This would be fun to read sometime, just immerse myself in one of the titans of shonen at the time. Like, this was the shonen series when it was running. Yeah, I don't know. It has that classic appeal. Should be a lot of fun. This was running for a while. I don't know. It looks very goofy. Chapter 8 is age-gated and web only. Huh? Alright. Another Tokyo Ghoul spinoff. Ghost Reaper Girl. Alright. Sure. I want to read this at some point. I had started reading it. It was pretty interesting. I think this actually, before when I was like, yeah, the world building in Boku no Hero Academia is like pretty generic. I think this spices it up quite a bit. Because it kind of examines other lenses of heroes and stuff and other roles they can have in society and kind of how society pushes back on heroes and stuff. So I expect this to be really good. I also like that it's kind of lower stakes. It's not just like apocalyptic battles, but kind of like a more noir-y, this is what I think at least, kind of like street crime stuff. So I like that. That's cool. Death Note, short stories, spin-off thing, okay. This looks cute. I kept seeing this advertised while it was running. I don't know, it just looks fun. There's these gods of destruction. Haikyuu is one that has been recommended to me a gorillion times, and I haven't read it. I mean, it looks great. I like a sports series now and then, and this has more hype behind it than almost any other sports series I've heard of. Volleyball is a cool one too. The team element in volleyball is really fascinating. I think this series does a really good job, just kind of based on the reputations of characters, that the enemy school teams get a lot of attention and character growth and arcs and stuff too, which I really like. Oh, this is getting an anime. Cool. This is another Fujimoto one-shot that I haven't read. This is a Demon Slayer spinoff. This is a BNHA spinoff that I've never even heard of. Huh. Okay. This sounds like fun. It looks like it'll again be kind of lower stakes. Standalone adventures sounds nice. And I think one of the things that BNHA does really well is the team up. That they have so much fun and creativity thinking about how different powers will interact with each other. So this looks like it just puts the spotlight on that, which I like. This I really want to read sometime. It's just some Toriyama short stories. I saw this in Chapters or something, or in Indigo, and I was very tempted to just buy it on the spot. Because I really like these old Toriyama series. I just love his character design, his world building and stuff. Never heard of this. Okay. Well, good for him. Never heard of this either, or this. Sure. Okay, it could be fun. This I really want to read. They did this once before where Boichi, I think, covered... Was it Boichi? Who was it? But they covered the chapter where Zoro fights Mihawk, which was one of my favorite chapters. And here, the Nisekoi mangaka covers another chapter. I just love the idea of covering a particular chapter where you can redo the paneling, you can redo how things are expressed and focalized, but you're still hitting all the same story beats. I think that's just such a cool expression of a mangaka's unique style. Not just like how they draw, but how they conceive of manga in the first place. It really gets highlighted with this. So I really want to check this out at some point too. A Bleach one-shot. I don't know what this is. That's just a one-shot. It's another Fujimoto one-shot. This was... who is this artist? They don't even say. Is it like the Silver Spoon guy or something? I read a bit of this, and it was because of the author. I'm pretty sure. And I was like, this is alright. This is gonna bug me. Eh? The illustrator? What? Ah! Huh. I don't know, maybe I just started reading it randomly. The art style looks so familiar, though. Anyways, it was fine. Blue Flag, we were talking about in the Manga Dex videos. I want to watch this. I read this, the entirety of it. It was okay. Just about like a cheat code level god tier detective. But she's kind of like psychotic, and it's like unclear if she's somehow like perpetuating these crimes. She has a shady past. It was neat. It had a good intensity. It had this like real thriller vibe to it, which you don't see in manga too often. But I'll say that I'm not surprised it got canned when it did, because it seemed like already they were just kind of like running on fumes, coming up with other twists and stuff. But sure, it was neat. This I want to read. It looks so goofy. I guess it's finished now. Okay, I should keep that in mind. It just looked really goofy and fun. I think I read a little bit of it. Alright. Brotastic. Good. This was the part that had the guy that I couldn't remember. I don't really remember much at all about what happens in this one. They're like in Italy, kind of, right? Is that this one? I can't remember. I just gotta go through all of it again. And it's all here. It's all here in great quality. For like $2 a month. It's crazy. I read a little bit of this. It's like a fun concept. They build houses out of like monster stuff. And there's like big monsters attacking all the time. They gotta shore up their defenses. It has a real classic feel to it. Like a 90s series. It's fine. Sure. This one I was reading for a while. I should actually pick this back up again. I was really enjoying it. This guy's, you know, a legend in the sports manga series and world. I really liked the protagonist. He's just this like very nerdy, standoffish guy who looks at golf and is like, this should be solvable, and then kind of mathematically deduces how to play, which is a lot of fun. Yeah, it was good. I was really enjoying it. The art style was really good, had a good intensity. I learned a lot about golf, the intricacies of it, so I'll have to come back to it at some point. Never heard of this, or this, or this. Alright. Now this is interesting. He's the king of insects. What does that mean? What is going on? I don't know. Platinum End, I remember, very controversial. Some people liked it, some people hated it, I think. This I gotta read at some point. This I read. It was nice. I think this is one of my favorite Shonen Jump rom-coms, like maybe ever. Because there wasn't any unnecessary BS in it. There wasn't any shoehorned in twist or whatever. It was, these girls are both geniuses at one subject, but terrible at another subject. They really want to go to school for the subject they're currently bad at. This guy sets out to tutor them. Eventually later, this girl shows up who's like an athlete. This is a teacher. They have a complex relationship. And that's about it. That's really all there needs to be. Obviously, it's kind of a harem series where they all end up falling for him, and he's got to make his choice. The ending was, I think, a very impressive hedging of bets when it comes to this harem genre. I won't spoil it, but they've done something that I've never seen in any other series in order to kind of navigate the which girl will win question. Yeah, this one's nice. I think the art style is really nice. Some really good faces, I remember. Of course, all of the obligatory fan servicey, ecchi misadventures are present, and some of them are quite groan-inducing, but you can forgive it. That's just how the genre works. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't give this a star. Like, I don't think it's a masterpiece by any stretch. Of course, it falls into the trap that any Shonen Jump rom-com series is going to have, where it's just perpetual progress baiting, and then there's some complication, the confession doesn't happen, looping ad infinitive, which gets frustrating and is a very desperate, clear attempt to just extend the series. But kind of like if you accept all of the hallmarks of the genre and just move past it and accept that that's how it's got to be, I think this is one of the best. Good one. This I got to read at some point. I'm watching the anime sporadically with my boyfriend, who's a huge fan. I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's just, solid shonen stuff. Nothing mind-blowing, nothing that I've never seen before, but just well done. And I want to see, what more happens. This was really good. This is a Kubo series of Bleach Flame. I would love to read more of this. I watched the OVA, and then I read the manga, and I was like, this is great. Please keep going. The world is cool, the characters are cool, the art style is cool. There was a ton I liked about this one. I think it could be a really great work from Kubo, but I don't know what's happening with it. The whole franchise kind of just seems to have stopped. This I read. I think it's kind of neat, the concept. This guy is receiving shonen jumps from the future through this weird paradox microwave thing. And then he's decided, okay, I'm like a failing mangaka. I'm just going to rip off the most successful series in future Shonen Jump and know that it's going to be a hit. But then, oh no, he runs into the person who's actually like supposed to write it. Of course, all these time travel stories can get really loopy if you take them too seriously. But it's a neat idea, and it, calling into question the idea of like where do ideas generate and stuff was fun. Again, though, it's like they burst out of the gate with the super twist-heavy, cliffhangery, where the hell is this going to go next series? And then very quickly they kind of run out of steam. You can't just kind of do that forever. You eventually kind of have to get more into the groove if you're going to have a long-running series. And appropriately enough, they did not have a long-running series. But, it was neat. This one I keep seeing, and I always think this is such a goofy-looking thumbnail. Sure. Sounds like fun. Bone Collection. More exorcism. Everybody's an exorcist. Exorcist, kind of. Exorcist? I don't know what this says. Okay. This is, the kind of gag. I think it might be 4-Coma spinoff. I'd like to read this at some point. This just sounds like fun. Guardian of the Witch. I bet he's an exorcist. I bet he's going to exorcise that witch. The Ruby manga's here for some reason. Sure. Some one-shot. Zip Man. This is like the long-running kind of sequel or spin-off of Tokyo Ghoul. Another one BNHA spin-off or one-shot. This was like pretty popular for a while. Ooh, D. Greyman. This was one that was running when I was a kid, and I was always kind of freaked out by it. Something about this character really spooked me. I don't know why, just something about his design. But yeah, this series, it seems kind of interesting. I kind of want to go back and read it at some point. I think he's an exorcist. But he was an exorcist before it was cool. This looks really interesting to me. I would love to read this at some point because the whole logistical process behind Weekly Shonen Jump, which is this multi-generational effort going back to like the early 60s, is so fascinating to me. The editorial decisions, the decisions around how is it actually going to get printed and distributed, the greater strategic decisions of what kind of magazine should Jump be like in anyways, what sort of series should we be promoting and stuff. This has the answers. I want to read it. It looks so nice. Death Note special. This I want to read at some point. It's like a side story to Dr. Stone. Looks good. This I want to read at some point. I was watching the K-drama for a while, and I was really enjoying it. This is the classic rom-com. Although I will say, the first episode I saw the K-drama, I was enjoying a certain Canadian delicacy. And I just got so caught up in my feelings that I didn't really recognize what parts were meant to be like comedic and lighthearted. And I just started crying so hard. what in retrospect was supposed to be like a totally different tone. But yeah, you know, a classic. Showy Spot Beast. This is about rugby? Alright. Could be cool. This I started reading because it's about shogi and I really like shogi. But it was just too strange. This guy with like split personalities and stuff. I wasn't feeling it. Don't know what this is. Sure. This is Food Wars. Everybody talks about Food Wars. I don't know. It doesn't appeal too much to me. I kept praising food manga. This whole series of videos have been all about the food manga. But this is like, I don't know. It doesn't get across the appeal of the food quite right to me. It feels like food is an ends to a means instead of the ends itself in this series. That's just not right with me. This is Fujimoto, his big series before Chainsaw Man. I really ought to read this as well. I've heard pretty crazy things. Boys Over Flowers, we're talking about. Never heard of this. Never heard of these. I don't know. Whoa, this only got one chapter? Oh, okay. It's a one-shot. This I read. This is actually super hype. I read it because it was Murata, and it lived up to all the excitement that I would expect from something drawn by Murata. Yeah, it was just fun. Just really kind of classic vibes. This is the cover chapter that I mentioned before. Tokyo Ghoul, which I want to read so I can talk to my boyfriend about it since he's a big fan. Hi-Fi Cluster. Ooh. That's kind of, I like this. I like that he's got pizza. I'm hungry. Sure. Love Rush. Ubermail Gene. Huh. Okay. Sure. And JoJo's Annihilation. Alright. Yu-Gi-Oh! This I've heard some good things about. I would like to check this one out. Again, it's about art that always enchants me. Yeah, it could be good. Hikaru no Go. This is a real classic of my childhood. I think this one's great. I'm happy to give this one a star. I think the premise of him being haunted by an ancient Go master is such a neat spin on this sort of game, sports series, whatever. It leads to such complex relationships between him and the other characters where he sometimes has these moments where he's following Sai's suggestions and is, of course, like the most uber genius, but then really sets out on his own as well. The expanded cast was good. All the stories of him going through the different shogi schools and stuff was good. The teaching you about shogi itself. I keep saying shogi, I mean Go. Teaching about Go itself and learning, you know, the strategies and mechanics and stuff. Very good, very good. Just great series. I want to reread it. I don't know if I finished it when I was a kid either, actually. I can't remember. But yeah, really cool. I think my favorite is the arc where he finds out about playing Go on the internet, and he realizes it's the perfect way to let the ghost play without, you know, it screwing up his reputation or whatever. But then, you know, there's this big controversy and quest to figure out who is this mysterious Sai online. Something about that is just like so enchanting to me. I really like this one. Seventh Garden. Sure. Akuma no Kill. Wow, this series is so short. This inspired like a Hollywood movie. Right? On the Edge of Tomorrow? With Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt? Based on All You Musical? Bizarre. Crazy. Ass Class! Ass Class, baby! I love this series. This also gets a star. Yeah, this one was so weird, so unique in its premise, but so classic, and a lot of it's like really kind of shonen elements. Some great battle scenes, great illustration, great characterization. I love the mix between more high stakes thriller arcs and then arcs that are just about school stuff and studying. Lots of amazing twists that were very nicely foreshadowed over hundreds of chapters. Well, not hundreds, sorry, but dozens of chapters. Just such a cool style. Koro Sensei, just such a unique character. So iconic. I love this one especially, that has the pseudo Gucci. Yeah, it's great. Dude, I love this one. I love this one. It's so fun. Okay, good one. Here's another one that gets a star. Bakuman. This is, in my mind, the masterpiece of the Death Note team. Just diving into the world of Shonen Jump, as I already said, is so fascinating. The expanded cast, all these different mangaka, seeing their creations within this manga, like seeing the other fictional manga, discussing it and analyzing it. Such like a diversity, such a richness of the world building and stuff. Like, you really believe all these other series are like feasible. You could see them. You kind of want to read them. Just the tension and dynamics about their ever-growing relationship. It's so like realistic. There's nothing like idealized. It really shows the brutality of making manga and the strain that it puts on your friendships and stuff. Like, there's nothing so idealized that they're just uber comrades forever. I love how it kind of replicates the story of these two mangaka and their road to creating Death Note and just breaking out as a huge success. And you're kind of anticipating that. You can kind of see the parallels, and then you can kind of make expectations of what else is going to happen. It's hilarious at times. Some of the jokes still stick in my mind. The one character, especially the former businessman that writes like Otter 11 or whatever it's called, about the otter businessman. The scene where he pulls up in like the drop top Lamborghini. I still have the face he makes as my icon on like a bunch of sites. Yeah, this one's great. And the art is just phenomenal, but I think that goes without saying. Fantastico Barrage. Never heard of this. Huh? Oh, okay. Wow. From Horikoshi Sensei. Horikoshi Sensei. Oh, alright, neat. Black Cat. I read some of this as a kid. It's the guy that ended up doing To Love Ru, which might show up later as we scroll down. I would kind of like to finish reading this at some point. All these series that I just read like random volumes of as a kid because I got them in the library, or they were like featured in Shonen Jump for a bit or whatever, or like early scanlation sites that I found as a kid that were like really incomplete or really low quality. It's like I kind of want to go back and finish them. I kind of want to go back, and there must be some tiny part of my brain, some few surviving neurons that remember this plot and are still wanting conclusion, still want to know what happens, and I ought to satiate them. Bleach, a classic. Now, I'm not the hugest Bleach fan, but I really respect it, because Kubo kept it motherfucking real. Like, I think some of the early arcs are fantastic. The Soul Society arc, rescuing Rukia, the first big Aizen twist, and or what's this guy's name? Aizen. Those twists and stuff. Fantastic. Later on, the arcs started getting a little unfocused. A lot of kind of twists for the sake of twists. A lot of power level escalation that didn't seem very justified. A lot of characters just kind of be throwing in. But despite all of that, despite kind of these shortcomings in the storytelling, the style of it was 100 all the way through. The weird motherfuckers that Kubo wanted to draw, he just kept coming up with them. Even in the final arc, there was like this just renaissance of like multi-form fighting and crazy twists of people's powers and capabilities, and it kept me enchanted all the way until the end. Even at the same time, I was kind of eye-rolling at, the specific twists and stuff that they wanted to implement. The final arc is now finally getting animated after a long break. I haven't watched any of it, but apparently they're they're bringing it back for the fans, you know. They're reviving all of the qualities of the original anime that people were enjoying. So yeah, I don't know. It's a series that while I was reading it, I felt very frustrated, as I mentioned. But looking back at it, I really respect just how much Kubo stuck to what he wanted to do. There wasn't compromises. There wasn't, you know, giving just people what they want, but instead keeping it weird, keeping it fresh, always foregrounding style over, you know, kind of the hallmarks of quality that people wanted. Obviously, the huge infamous moment was The Heart, where Kubo went beyond giving up on drawing backgrounds and instead just had the words The Heart appear as an entire page. And at the time, it frustrated me. At the time, I was on the 4chan anime board all the time, arguing about how much better One Piece was than Naruto and Bleach. But looking back at it, that's a bold choice. That's not just a lazy choice, but a boldly lazy choice. And I respect the hell out of it. I would like to go back and reread Bleach at some point. I think that'd be a lot of fun. This I kind of remember. I remember this dude's big sword. Sure. Claymore, my boyfriend read recently. It was one that we both had kind of read a little bit as kids, and he wanted to see it through. And he said it was kind of interesting. I always kind of thought of the series as like Diet Bleach, somebody that is sort of living in the Shadow of Miura. But Bleach casts, or Berserk, Diet Berserk. What am I saying? Diet Bleach. I don't know. It's like weird when I've been recording for a while. I still feel like I'm making good points. But basically when I'm talking, especially if I'm like monologuing in a video, I'm not actually kind of paying attention to what I'm saying that much. Instead, I'm like thinking 3 or 4 sentences ahead and trying to just decide what overall point I'm trying to build to. And I think I'm still good at doing that, even when I'm a little exhausted and been doing it for a while. But I start to make more and more errors in just like word choice and like forgetting what I'm talking about and stuff. And I don't catch those errors as quickly if I'm like exhausted. But yes, this lives in the shadow of Berserk. But Berserk has a big shadow, and a lot of very creative ideas can exist in it. So it seems neat. This is a Toriyama manga that always looked really cute and fun to me. I'd like to read it. It's fun seeing Toriyama do something for the kids. This is a lacrosse series? Alright. Okay, sure. Death Note, gotta give it a start. It's great. The art is fantastic. The concept is just like one of the most imagination unlocking things I've ever seen. Everybody has a different sense of what should happen, where the story would go. And I think, I was actually just talking about this a bit ago, it has such a feeling of like sublime escalation, where at the very start you think it's going to be this kind of low stakes, intense thriller where he's using the Death Note like one-to-one to resolve crises he's in the moment. And then like as soon as you kind of get your head around that and think, okay, this is where it's going, just boom, no, he's the god of a new world. He has this super sophisticated system to eradicate everyone he doesn't like. I think it speaks to the potential of the series that there's so many spin-offs and stuff, looking at other potential Death Note holders and what they would do and how they would approach it moralistically and stuff. But the OG is just phenomenal. There's lots of stuff that people make fun of the series for, because yeah, some of the twists are just batshit insane and so keikaku based that they'll become memes for decades hence. But you got to give it up. Even at the end when, you know, everybody says it goes downhill after happens, and it's true, but there's still such richly imaginative ideas, such crazy twists, such feelings of like transcendence in this constant mind game between the evil protagonist and the heroes of justice trying to bring him down. Or maybe that's not how you think of it at all. I don't know. Here we're getting into a little Toriyama blitz. Dr. Slump. I haven't read much of this, but I want to read all of it. Again, it's just, as a kid, I would just kind of have random volumes here and there, but for $2 a month, I can read the whole dang thing. And this is, I think, a classic for a reason. You know, charming, funny, inventive. You get to see Toriyama draw a whole lot of the stuff he likes, which is like vehicles and military gear, and he just has this goofy world where anything can happen as an excuse to just bring all of this stuff to life. Dragon Ball. So this just covers the kid arcs, which are my favorite. Even, when Goku grows up, the first Piccolo arc I think is phenomenal. But the early arcs, the adventuring arcs against Red Ribbon Army, finding the Dragon Balls, against Emperor Pilaf and stuff, I think are just phenomenal. This definitely gets 2 stars. I think it's very clear reading these early chapters why this became such a force of nature. And it's not because Oda had some grand vision of world building like Oda does with One Piece. Did I just say Oda twice? Toriyama. Toriyama didn't have that scope of world building. Toriyama didn't have this extremely long, convoluted sequence of villains and power-ups and stuff in mind. He was writing by the seat of his pants. He said, there's these Dragon Balls, and they're going to look for them. And all sorts of shenanigans are going to happen in between. But just like the things he effortlessly innovated in the process of telling that simple story, the tournaments, the power-ups, the Kamehameha, such classic characters like Master Roshi and Krillin, like the comedy of it, the fan service of it, knowing how to sprinkle these elements in alongside like really well done, goofy, fun action sequences that just draw the line perfectly between like tension and comedy and like Jackie Chan intricate choreography. It's amazing. I really want to go back and read it. I want to read it right now. I love this series so much. Probably no other series had as big an impact on me, because I was reading this before I started even reading One Piece. And then when I started reading One Piece, I kind of marathoned through all of this with volumes I was getting from the library. I got to see boobs. I got to see awesome fights. And then reading this while I was watching Dragon Ball Z on TV and like figuring out the links and stuff between that. It's just awesome. I just love this series so much. I think it deserves all of the influence it's had on the world. It's so good. Full color Frieza arc, full color Saiyan arc, and then Dragon Ball Z itself, the classic. This as well, I will give 1 star. I think, obviously it gets a little formulaic. Toriyama famously wanted to end Dragon Ball and thought that Z would be, in Japan it's not even called Z, but the Z arcs, which appeared, I think, after a brief hiatus after the end of normal Dragon Ball, he thought would be like an epilogue. A short thing kind of showing this final twist of Goku is a Saiyan, the Saiyans are here, the Saiyans kill Goku, but then Gohan rises up, and now it's going to be Gohan's journey into the future, and that would be it. And then it's like, okay, well, we need to escalate. Okay, well, there's a boss of the Saiyans. This guy Frieza is like a greater evil, and he's just out here nuking planets. And then he's like, that'll be the finale. And then Shonen Jump is like, no. You want to keep this moving, right? You want to keep this flowing in, right? You got to keep going. Oh, okay, well, then there's this guy comes from the future and kills Frieza, but in his future, things are even worse. There's these, like, androids. Geez, okay, well, we gotta prepare for the androids that will be built. Well, there's actually, like, a super android, and you just thought you could beat the androids? No. This android is gonna eat the rest of the androids and become unimaginably strong, and you gotta fight him. Okay. Oh, and then there's, that's gotta be it, right? No, just kidding. There's, like, this super ancient, untouchable, evil, the Majin Buu, and then it just keeps going. That's my point. It just keeps going. But he did actually keep it really fresh. Even though, in the end, all of these arcs, the essence of it is new threat appears, our characters have to power up to fight it. The power-ups themselves kept being imaginative. Super Saiyan 3 looks so cool. Fusions and stuff. So cool. The side characters that get introduced in each arc. Mr. Satan showing up like 300 chapters into Z, and you're like, damn, Mr. Satan is the funniest thing I've ever seen? That's amazing. It's just, man, I don't know. He just kept it so real. Like, even though you could tell he wanted to end it, even though he wanted to move on, even though, he just kind of kept throwing more stuff at the wall and being like, guess what? Boo transformed again. These are the things that establish those patterns within shonen in the first place, right? And he still does it more inventive than many of his successors. Another one that I would love to reread, although my love for the original Dragon Ball is even stronger. That time I got reincarnated as Yamcha. This is like a weird Yamcha isekai thing. Sure. This is some Western series. Looks like fun. I don't know what the heck this is. This is, of course, a classic. I'd like to read it at some point. I think it probably will live up to its reputation. This ran for a while. Huh. I've never heard of it. More exorcism! Everybody's an exorcist! Naruto spin-offs, Nisekoi. Alright, we gotta talk about Nisekoi. This is kind of what I'm talking about, that it's like, these Shonen Jump rom-coms, they need some weird twist. The fact that it's about these dueling Yakuza families, like, that's fun, and it motivates the other kind of twist where these two have to pretend to be in a relationship. But very quickly, this sort of window dressing just kind of becomes irrelevant, and it's just more strange that it's like situated in the first place. This is why I think We Can't Study is better, because it's just pure. And then, as much as I like these characters, and I do like these characters, and I think it has a good sense of how a rom-com should operate, this one is probably the worst I've ever read in terms of progress bait and just constant resetting of any forward movement, and God, just the dumb stuff that happens. Like, the whole idea is that he has this locket, right? And he made this promise with a girl that he fell in love with one summer, that he's got the locket, she's got the key, and then when they meet again, oh yeah, you're my one true love or whatever. First off, stupid. Why are you so devoted and sure that you're going to have this happily ever after love with a girl that you met once when you were a kid and don't even remember the first thing about, because you have some bizarre puberty amnesia? And then second, the whole mystery, of course, is like, oh, which of these girls has the key? Because, it's all hinted that they have the key. But it's like, all of them are so incapable, even though they've become such close friends, of being like, oh, hey, you want to hear a weird story? When I was a kid, I met this girl. See, I have this locket. And then when progress on that was, like, finally being made, I remember I dropped the series for the longest time because it's like, the locket, like, broke, and then they couldn't test which key was the right key because of fucking course all the girls have keys for some stupid reason. And then they're like, okay, we're going to go fix the locket. And I can remember this so clearly, that the locket is at this like jeweler's, and the jeweler is going to fix it so they can finally figure out whose key works and what's inside. And the jeweler bumps the locket into the trash. And I bumped this series into the trash, and I thought, my God, you can't keep drawing this out. Oh my Lord. Okay, but the anime adaptation was really good. Shoutouts to Shaft. This one we saw in reference to this artist had done something else. Okay. Pretty Face. A pretty face is a fate worse than death. They don't even have a banner image for this one. This ran for a long time. Okay. Sure, I don't know. I don't have really much to say about any of these. Rurouni Kenshin, this is another big classic that I haven't read, that I would like to read at some point. The artist, of course, pretty disgraced now. Too bad. The main reason I want to read this is that Oda was an assistant on the series before he started One Piece. And I would just really like to see where it may have influenced Oda, and to see Oda's influence on it. Oda, as One Piece is my favorite manga of all time. I'm just really fascinated by Oda's creative process and how he makes manga. So for that reason, if nothing else, I'd kind of like to check this one out. Some sequel. Sandland! I love Sandland. This is another Toriyama series. It just ran for one volume. But it's just a nice, tight little story in a very creative, imaginative world with some fun characters. I love it. This, I think, exemplifies so much what I like about Toriyama's manga. I don't know what this is, but it looks super goofy. But that's not a bad thing. Okay, this sounds like fun. Sure. The Prince of Tennis, all-time classic. Maybe at some point I'll read it. I like tennis, so I'd be curious. Time Killers. Toriko, this one I like the idea of too. That he's hunting big monsters so he can eat them. It seemed like they had a really bold, expansive world building in mind. This is one of the ones that I think was very influenced by One Piece, where they decided that era of shonen I think is very defined by let's set up a big world. Like, let's hype up the lands way over yonder. Let's hype up the 5 heavenly kings that we're going to meet one at a time. And I think this is a manga that is strengthened by existing in that era. Yu-Gi-Oh! A classic. The early Yu-Gi-Oh! Very infamously, of course, did not deal with card games at all for many, many arcs, and instead dealt with Yami Yugi being a total psychopath and going out there and murdering and torturing people in a very Fukumoto-esque kind of ad hoc gambles across a wide number of games and genres and stuff. And those chapters are fantastic. And I think it goes downhill so quickly when it just becomes all about the card game. And it's kind of a shame because it didn't seem like they wanted to make it all about the card game. Takahashi Sensei, may he rest in peace. Because they did a few card game arcs and they went to this like RPG arc I remember being really cool. That was like the finale, and it kind of seemed like he wanted to keep going with like a variety of games. But then the actual TCG, which Konami started selling, was such a runaway hit. They were like, no. This series kind of just has to continuously be a commercial for the card games. And I don't think it was like bad after that point. I think the anime especially was like very, very entertaining, and it was all about the card game. We've gone back and watched the dub of a lot of it, and it's so much fun. It's especially the way that 4Kids localized it, like complete psychopaths. Every line has to be some sort of like pun or like joke or something. It was just the way they felt like writing it, I guess. And it just makes the characters sound like absolutely manic, that they're just like babblingly near incoherently, that they're it's like a, if not literally life or death, like these characters are in these insanely tense card games, and they'll summon a spell that's like it's monstrous cow, and Joey will be like, well, it looks like that guy's gonna get a move on, and then she'll go, Yugi, you better not get knocked into ground beef. And Tristan's like, Yugi's looking more like a hamburger with that on his side. And it's just like, what the fuck are they talking about? Why are they talking like this? Where you know in the original Japanese, they're just like, that monster's strong. Yugi, watch out. But like everything has to be a pun. It just makes it like the most manic experience of your life. This is true for 5Ds and GX and stuff. So I haven't really read the manga past this. And I know it's really all about the card game after that. But like, I have such fond feelings about this whole series because of the dub. I did read some of this. This is the one that takes place in like ancient Egypt and teaches you like the origins of duel monsters and stuff. Sure. I don't know. This is the one that I think is like most of the big card game arcs. I would kind of like to read these at some point. Because it is, as sort of nonsensical as the card game is, both in the manga and real life, I just like any story that depicts the playing of the game and strategies, and it doesn't really even matter what the game is. So I don't know, I'll get to it eventually. This is another Kubo series. I read a bit of this as a kid. I remember it being like really weird and edgy and intense, which is what you want from Kubo, with characters that are dripped out to hell and back. Yeah, I don't know. It seems pretty sweet. Maybe I'll read it at some point. Didn't run for that long. No idea what this is. Oh, from Hitman Reborn. Don't know. Sure. Getting near the end. I don't know what this is, but it looks cute. Enough said. True. oh, this ran for a little while. Well, it looks cute. And then we'll end this by talking about Naruto, which really was one of the most influential series on me. Because I think it's one thing to just read a lot of good manga, right? To be recommended series that have already finished, you read it, and you go, damn, that was really good. And that's fine. But that kind of just makes manga like any other medium. It makes it like a TV show that's critically acclaimed. Oh, you really ought to watch The Wire, or like a movie, you know. You just sit down and you have a good experience and you move on. But to me, the real joy of reading manga is reading it week by week and not knowing where it's going to go. And knowing that the creator of the manga might also not know where it's going to go. And just this feeling of it being kind of like an artisan craft where no matter what, they have to get a chapter out like every week or every month. They have to draw like 16 pages every week. And there's certain kind of restrictions and struggles inherent in that kind of drives things to maybe become formulaic or to just sort of reiterate on points and just keep giving the reader what they want to maintain its popularity, to maintain its position in the magazine. And I think the feeling of reading something week by week and fearing some directions that it could go, but being excited for other directions that it could go, and just having this many year-long legacy is what is so essential to manga to me, which makes manga so much fun for me. It makes it so exciting. It makes me want to make videos like this where I talk about my experiences with it. And Naruto, I think, was my first big taste of that drama. Because the first arcs of Naruto are amazing. They're really, really amazing. The art is great, the characterization is great, just the ninja battles are so inventive. The big dramatic moments, the huge emotional climaxes of the bridge building arc and stuff. Then you get into the Chunin exams, which I actually just reread not too long ago, and I was still just blown away by how well done they are, the suspense, the world building, the mysteries. It's so good. And then around here, things start getting a little iffy. And I think this is where it comes into play that Kishimoto Sensei had a runaway hit, huge international success, and he wants to keep it going. But he might not have the ambition to put in the effort that he did in the early days. He might not have the ideas. And what Kishimoto is infamous for is just kind of like pandering to the existing audience, of just kind of doing what he thought the readers wanted to see most again and again and again. And it leads to this like mess of constant face heel turns. I want to see this character fight this character. Okay, well, let's find a reason to do that. Well, now this character, the bad guy character, he's actually really popular, so let's make him a good guy. Okay, let's find a reason to that. Sakura, she's not that popular. She's not going to do anything. This guy is a villain, but you know what? This guy was scarier, so he's actually the big villain. But you know what? There's another guy, and he's actually the big villain. Just like never really a sense that he knew what he was doing. The world building kind of falling apart at the seams as he needed to keep upping the power level and going, oh yeah, no, there was like another hidden village. These guys were really strong. Oh yeah, and there was actually like more people in this one ninja clan. They're really strong too. And it's just all kind of coming off the rails. The character design's getting lazier and lazier. Just like prolonged focus on characters that didn't really have motivation built up or any good characterization built up. Just endless escalations of the power level that just got less and less interesting, instead of these really kind of like technical, psychological, trying to outthink your opponent, ninja arts and stuff, trying to see which ninja art countered which other ninja art. Instead, it was just summoning huge beasts and blasting each other with bolts of energy and stuff. Just getting less and less interesting. And I think this is when I first experienced that kind of disappointment of like, geez, this is going downhill. I miss the good old days. This is just getting stupid. And I think it was that feeling, more than the feeling of just reading something that was unilaterally good. It was that feeling that made me so compelled by manga. That even well past the point at which I was enjoying Naruto, I was still reading it week by week and going, what are they gonna do now? You know, like, can they salvage this? So it's a very, very special series to me because of that. It's one that I'm never gonna forget. I don't know if I'll ever reread it, because I do think it becomes total booty at some point. And it's the type to really desecrate its own good faith and memories. But it was something special for me because it was so formative. So it is what it is. It's Naruto. Need I say more? Alright, so that's all the stuff that's on Viz. I had fun talking about it all. We had a few series that, of course, I praised to high heaven that are going in the Keats the Criterion. And then we're almost through the Manga Extravaganza. The last thing is looking through this tab of 69 titles. Nice. Of stuff that I finished reading. I'm pretty wiped out. I've been recording videos for like 3 hours now, so I'm not going to make that now, but hopefully sometime soon you'll get to watch that. Okay, bye-bye.